South Korean films have carved out a powerful place in global cinema. From bold storytelling and emotional intensity to genre-defying narratives and razor-sharp social commentary, Korean films push the boundaries of the art that is cinema. Here is a look at the 5 darkest Korean films ever made. These films cover themes and concepts that may be traumatic to some. Viewer discretion is advised. Number 5. Memories of Murder. Directed by Bong Joon-ho and written by himself and Shim Sung-bo, Memories of Murder is based on the 1996 play Come to See Me by Kim Kwang-lim. Set in rural South Korea during the 1980s, Memories of Murder follows 2 detectives, Park Do-man and Seo Tae-yoon, trying to solve a string of brutal rapes and murders of women. The case begins with the discovery of a young woman's body in a field. However, with scarce evidence and a lack of forensic technology, the cops resort to forced confessions, superstition, and violence to interrogate suspects. Ultimately, none of these methods were successful in finding the culprit. Soon more bodies are found, and a disturbing pattern emerges. All the murders happen on rainy nights and involve women wearing red. Park and Seo fixate on multiple suspects, including a mentally challenged boy and a quiet factory worker, but none can be definitively linked to the crimes. Despite their efforts, the police fail to find solid evidence or a confession that holds up. Frustration grows and tensions rise within the town and amongst the police. Park and Seo themselves begin to unravel psychologically. The investigation is eventually closed, with the killer still at large. The film ends years later with Park revisiting the first murder site, where a young girl tells him a man had recently come to look at the spot.
뭐래더라? 맞아. 옛날에 여기서 자기가 했던 일이 생각나서 진짜 오랜만에 한번 와봤다.
A few moments later, Park turns and looks into the camera, as though he's looking directly at the killer, the one in the film and the one in real life. Memories of Murder is based on a true event, the 1986 Hwasong serial murders, South Korea's first known serial killings. The killer, Lee Chun-jae, was only identified 16 years after the release of the film in 2003. Bong Joon-ho's motivation for this film came from his love of detective fiction. With Memories of Murder, he sought to explore hidden horror in seemingly peaceful places through the contrasting images of serene landscapes and violent crimes. Memories of Murder is a bleak, slow-burning nightmare about the failure, memory, and the chilling reality that sometimes evil simply vanishes into the crowd. Number 4. Silenced. Written and directed by Hwang Dong-hyuk, the creator of Squid Game, Silenced is based on the 2009 Korean novel The Crucible by Gong Ji-young. The film follows Kang In-ho, a newly hired art teacher at a school for hearing-impaired children in the town of Mujin. He soon realizes that something is terribly wrong, as many of the students show signs of fear, injury, and emotional trauma. In-ho discovers that several teachers and the school principal have been physically and sexually abusing the students for years. With the help of human rights activist Seo Yoo-jin, he reports the crimes and encourages the children to speak out. The children testify in court, recounting harrowing abuse. Despite overwhelming evidence, the perpetrators receive light sentences. Ino is left disillusioned by a system that prioritizes power over justice. Gong Ji-young, the author of the original novel, was inspired to write The Crucible after learning about the real-life sexual abuse cases at a school for hearing-impaired children in Gwangju. Outraged by the systemic injustice and the lack of accountability, Gong aimed to expose the societal and institutional failures that allowed such abuse to continue unchecked. Her book was widely popular when it was published in 2009, and with the release of the film in 2011, sparked a national outcry leading to the revision of South Korean laws on sex crimes against minors and the disabled. The fact that the film is based on real cases involving real children makes the horror feel closer to home than it ever should be. Number 3. The Wailing.
私の手や足を見なさい。
Written and directed by Na Hong-jin, The Wailing is a supernatural horror set in a quiet Korean village where a series of gruesome murders and mysterious illnesses begin to plague the community. Jong-gu, a bumbling and grumpy police officer, is called to investigate the strange event, which seems to be connected to a reclusive Japanese man living in the woods. Rumors swirl the Japanese stranger is a ghost or demon, and villagers begin dying in violent, inexplicable ways after suffering from skin rashes and madness, as if they were possessed. All while this is happening, Jong-gu keeps seeing a strange woman in white, whose ambiguity only confuses him even more. Eventually, the madness reaches Jong-gu's doorstep, as his own daughter starts showing signs of possession, pushing him to desperate measures. Jong-gu calls a local shaman, who starts performing an intense and chaotic exorcism ritual. As the ritual proceeds, Jong-gu's mind races as suspicion shifts between Japanese man, the shaman, and the woman in white. But everything unravels. The shaman is revealed to be working with the evil spirit, and the Japanese man is not a misunderstood outsider. He's the devil incarnate. Jong-gu returns home too late, witnessing the final horrific consequences of his choices. The Wailing masterfully blurs the line between good and evil, never letting you feel grounded in who to trust. The horror doesn't just come from demons or gore, but from the collapse of reason, the manipulation of faith, and the utter helplessness of a father trying to save his child. Na Hong-jin developed The Wailing over several years, driven by a fascination with the clash between belief systems and the unknowable nature of evil. He saw the film not as a traditional horror story, but as a meditation on how people respond to chaos when rational explanations fail. Number 2. I Saw the Devil. Directed by Kim Ji-yoon and written by Park Hoon-jung, I Saw the Devil begins with the brutal murder of a young woman, Ju-yeon, who turns out to be the fiancé of elite secret agent Kim Soo-yeon. Devastated and enraged, Soo-yeon vows to take revenge on her killer, not through justice, but through prolonged torture. He identifies the murderer, Kyung-chul, a sadistic serial killer, and begins a terrifying game of cat and mouse. Rather than killing him, Soo-yeon captures, tortures, and releases Kyung-chul multiple times, tracking him each time to prolong his suffering. The line between victim and monster begins to blur. Kyung-chul, wounded and humiliated, begins striking back, killing innocent people and targeting Soo-hyun's loved ones. Kyung-chul remains unpredictable, gleefully toying with death and inflicting horror wherever he goes. In the end, Soo-hyun finally kills Kyung-chul, but not before emotionally breaking himself in the process. The film closes with Soo-hyun sobbing, realizing that even revenge hasn't healed his pain, only deepened it. I Saw the Devil is disturbing not just because of its graphic violence and gore, but because it explores the psychological cost of revenge. It asks, what happens when justice becomes cruelty? Writer Park Hoon-jung wrote I Saw the Devil with the intention of exploring the moral ambiguity of revenge and the psychological toll it takes on both victim and perpetrator. I Saw the Devil is a brutal depiction of loss, vengeance, and the terrifying idea that in trying to punish evil, you might become evil. Number 1. Old Boy. Directed by Park Chan-wook and written by himself, Hwang Jo-yoon and Lim Jun-hyung, Old Boy is a loose adaptation of a Japanese manga of the same name. Old Boy follows Oh Dae-soo, an ordinary man who's mysteriously imprisoned in a cell for 15 years without explanation. One day, he's suddenly released and given money, clothes, and a phone, but still no answers. He becomes obsessed with uncovering who imprisoned him and why, unraveling a dark web of revenge. Along the way, he falls in love with a young sushi chef named Mi-do, and they begin a romantic relationship. His search leads him to the wealthy and calculating Lee Woo-jin, who orchestrated his captivity. Woo-jin reveals that he and Dae-soo were once classmates. During that time, Dae-soo witnessed Woo-jin and his sister engaged in intercourse. However, not realizing it was an incestuous relationship, Dae-soo tells his friend about what he saw, which leads to widespread rumors. Woo-jin's intimacy with his sister also led to her becoming pregnant. However, Woo-jin refuses to believe it and insists that she experienced a phantom pregnancy from all the stress of the rumors, and that was what ultimately led to her taking her own life. Out of revenge, Woo-jin hypnotizes both Dae-soo and Mi-do to fall in love, and reveals that Mi-do is actually Dae-soo's daughter. The revelation shatters Dae-soo. Woo-jin, satisfied with his elaborate revenge, kills himself after showing Dae-soo the final proof. The film ends ambiguously, with Dae-soo seeking hypnosis to forget the truth, but whether it works is left unclear. Park Chan-wook approached Old Boy with a deep interest in exploring themes of vengeance, fate, and the psychological consequences of confinement and trauma. While adapting the Japanese manga, he significantly altered the story to reflect uniquely Korean social and emotional dimensions, focusing on moral ambiguity and the destructive cycle of revenge. Park aimed to challenge viewers emotionally and intellectually, using shocking twists and complex characters to explore how far a person might go to uncover and survive the truth. This video is brought to you by Moohan Studios.